Let's go through the material for this week's lab. We're not going to do any of this through Canvas. We're going to do it through www.sobrinus.com. So navigate to that page, click on courses, and then go to the evolutionary ecology lab page. That brings you to this page right here. And then just scroll down to the week 3 material. This video, the button is going to be up here at the top. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you already know where it is. And here are a number of files. Okay, so graphing bacterial resistance. This is a file that has your instructions for this particular lab. Here's an information page and instruction page on graphs and some specifics that you have to know about that. Here is a document that has a series of questions. This is actually your lab exercise. So what you're going to do is go through this particular exercise and answer all of the questions that are on that particular exercise. You're going to type those answers onto a Word document, and then you're going to save that document with your last name dash week 3. All right, so you're going to save that file, your last name underscore or dash week 3. You will then email that to me as an attached file. And you're going to email that to me by 4 o'clock on Friday. Okay? So here's the graphing skills part of it. Here is, at this button, week 3 graphing data, is an Excel spreadsheet that has 4 tabs, and each tab has associated with it a data set that you are then going to graph. You will make those graphs following the instructions here under graphing skills. You're going to make those graphs and put them directly on that page for that data set on that Excel spreadsheet. So there's one Excel file and it has 4 tabs. So the 4 data sets are in that one file. We'll go through that in just a moment. You are then going to save that file as your last name dash week 3, and you're also going to email that to me. Okay? So rather than using a Dropbox, you're going to email these data sets to me. Those emails must be sent to me by 4 o'clock on Friday. All right, then there is this data set down here, bacterial results. Those are the data that you're going to use for next week. So this is a little lab exercise. If we were actually in class, we would actually be recording some kind of data. We would be doing the little experiments. We don't have that option this semester, so we're going to pretend like we did these experiments, and these are the results that we got. Next week, you are going to send a small, short scientific report to me based on these data. We'll talk more about that later. So you will need these data right here later. All right, so 2 things then. Here are your instructions. I guess 3 things. There are your instructions. Here is the form that you're going to fill out or you're going to type out. You're going to email your answers to me in a Word document or a PDF file, your last name dash week 3. You're going to read this graphing skills handout right here. Here are the data sets with your data. You're going to make your graphs and you're going to email that to me as well, your last name dash week 3. Okay, those emails have to get to me by 4 o'clock on Friday. Here are your data that you will need for next week. Very good. Let's look at what these data look like. I'm going to click on that. It gives us an Excel file. Let's go down here and open that Excel file up. Very good. There's the Excel file. I'm going to click Enable Editing. And you'll notice there are 4 tabs down here: Oklahoma earthquakes, insect richness, ecosystems, and Mississippi River stages. The one that's shown right here are the stages for the Mississippi River. We're going to click on the earthquakes, and I will just give you a very quick little example of how to do a graph here. When you're making a graph, in the handout it talks about predictor variables and response variables, and that's fine. That's not the standard terminology that is used in statistical analyses. In statistics, we talk about independent variables and dependent variables. A dependent variable depends on the independent variable. The independent variable does not depend on the dependent variable. So, for example, the number of earthquakes depends on the year. The year doesn't depend on the earthquakes. In the terminology in your handout, we're using year to predict the earthquakes. The earthquakes are responding to the year. So let's highlight these data. Very good. We've highlighted the data. Now we're going to come up here to the Insert tab. Click on Insert. I want to make a scatter diagram. It wouldn't make any sense to make a bar graph or something like that. I'm going to make a scatter diagram. And there we have it. I don't like the way this scatter diagram looks, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click this tab, which is now going to change it a little bit. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on the Series 1 box and I'm going to delete that. That makes it a little bit bigger. I'm going to change my title, so I'm going to click inside that box and I'm going to type in OK earthquakes. So Oklahoma earthquakes. Very good. Now I'm going to come down here to the axis title and I'm going to delete all of that. And I'm going to simply type in year. And then I'm going to come over here to axis title and I'm going to delete all of that. And I'm going to type in number of earthquakes. Very good. All right, now if I wanted, I could change the sizes of these things and these lines and all of that. There are all sorts of options that are available here. If I left click, I can format these grid lines, I can format the axis and all of that sort of stuff. You should most definitely play around with that. But notice here, our independent variable is on the x-axis. So year is independent. The number of earthquakes is the dependent axis. It depends on year. Okay, so here's this nice little cute graph for number of earthquakes in Oklahoma relative to year. So you would do this graph on this page. So I've given you a clue. This first one should be a scatter diagram. If you wanted, I suppose you could get clever and put in a trend line or something like that. We'll talk about that sort of stuff at another time. But you can see pretty clearly that what's happening here is that the number of earthquakes has increased rather dramatically since about the year 2008 or 2007, something like that. Okay? So there would be the first part done. You would now make a different kind of a graph for insect richness and for each of these others. Read the instructions and complete those graphs. What we might do to make my life a little bit easier is move this up a little bit towards the top. There you go. Just like that. Once you've got all of these things made, you're going to save this file. File, save as. It's thinking about it. All right, and then you're going to type in your last name, and underscore week 3, okay? And then you would save it, and then you would email that to me. So forget about the Dropbox. We're going to do this via email. Request when you send the emails, if you want to make sure that it gets to me, ask for a read receipt, okay, or a delivery receipt, and then you'll be certain that it found its way to me. Very good. If you have questions, feel free to email me or send me a voicemail message, and that will then end up on my email as well. Good deal. Talk to you guys later. Bye.